Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Abe with MysticGenmara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer a new crystal to add to our collection. So this crystal is a little tricky to collect, mainly because you have to get a tiger to lay still long enough to, snatch out his eye. Oh, no, sorry, wrong crystal. Just kidding. Would never do that. Tigers are too cool. But it is the stone we're discussing today, which is tiger's eye. It's a very interesting stone with lots of colors and layers, and that piece is a very raw piece. There's no polishing done to it. The ones you're probably more familiar with are these guys, because they've been polished up. They look great on different rings and pendants and all sorts of fun things. So let's dive into a little bit more about this particular crystal. It's a very beautiful shimmering crystal, and there are places that you'll see online that say, oh, it's super rare. It's really not as rare as you think. It's on almost every continent on the planet, so it's not super unrare. And it has a really long history. One of the little bits of lore I found as I was digging around is Roman soldiers would carry polished discs, which I don't have a disc of it, in their robes when they would go into battle. And sometimes they were polished up, much like this guy here, and then there would be a symbol carved into it for protection or courage or something along those lines, because that was what the belief was, because it was such a vibrant color, and it did look a lot like the eye of a tiger. So you have that comparison to think on. Tiger's eye is actually part of the quartz family, as it's primarily composed of silicon dioxide and iron oxide. So those are your two primary components. And it's part of a group of crystals called Chadayont. I listened to it, still can't say it. That is formed in metamorphic rock, so it's compressed. It is golden in color, which is obviously the more common versions you have seen. And it also has does show up on occasion in the blue version, which is also called hawk's eye or bird's eye, depending on who is selling it. And they both have similar energies, the gold and the blue. The gold tends to be more sun-driven dominant. The blue tends to be a little more subtle, still as aggressive, as we'll find out here in a minute. Tiger's eye, the reason I say it's fairly common is it's found in the US, Brazil, in Canada, Spain, China, Korea, India, Namibia, South Africa, Burma or Myanmar, and Australia. Like, it's literally everywhere. So you hear people say, it's really rare. Not as rare as you think. And the veins that they find are massive. Like, the average stone, like a raw piece like this, I think this one only cost me like $5. So it's not an expensive stone by any stretch. So, and that's the reason I say it's one of the more common ones. Back in the day, it was actually super valuable because they didn't have as many places you could find it. So times have changed. Now, the composite form, because you will see this one online, is tiger iron, is what the term is called. And it's generally a mix of like tiger's eye, red jasper, hematite. So it has a little bit of a different composition, still holds that shimmer. And it's usually used for like knife handles, a little bit in jewelry. It has this particular, if you can see this more reddish shade there. I don't know if my lights are going to throw it off. But it's definitely more of a red hue with that color. Still has the same shimmer with the reflections and everything. But it is, in normal lighting, very red stone, and it is a natural occurring stone. Its composition's a little bit different. Going along with composition, the red is, sorry, we'll get to composition in a second. The red is generally found in Australia and South Africa, so those ones are a little bit more rare, but the blue and the gold, they're pretty common in most places. Now, the one thing that I have ran across, and I'm not a chemist by any stretch, some of the stuff you find from America, which is like California tiger's eye or Western tiger's eye or something like that, there's a couple of different names for it. Those ones have a little bit of a different shimmer, and this is not that one. This is from India. And they have, some of the chemical compositions has a layer of asbestos in it, At least that's what I've been seeing online. If you just be aware that there are some of those, you want to make sure you're getting either one from Africa, from India, from China, Australia. The ones from the States and some of the ones in Canada, they've been finding this weird asbestos layer, so I would definitely not wear those ones if you find them. They're pretty, keep them on the shelf, don't put them on your skin, don't like keep them away from your face type stuff. Um, just a little heads up on that. Tiger's Eye carries the energy of fire and the sun, goes along with protection and courage. It's a warming stone, so it's known to have a very projective, sending out energy. You could also say it's a masculine energy. And it's a very outgoing and social stone. If you've ever worked with them, you'll know that this is a stone of movement, of getting things going, so you're not just sitting quietly at home with the stone. It can help warm the whole body, which is great. It can also warm up your good luck, so there's a reason it's been used for gambling over the years. But it can also help you warm to your passion, whether that's physical, a little more amorous journeys, or if it's something more of you've lost your heart in your art, whether it's writing, crafting, carving, whatever it is. If you tend to be hitting those roadblocks and things like that, Tiger's Eye can actually help you work through that. So, something to keep in mind. Also, one of the more interesting gifting ideas with Tiger's Eye is to gift it to someone who is kind of having a chronic sickness or something along those lines. Again, this is not medical advice, we're talking energy frequencies here. Because what it does is it helps infuse that person with vitality and energy. So when you think about it, having this stone with you can actually boost your own energy fields as well. So it's something to keep in mind if you're working in that kind of an environment. Tiger's Eye resonates with the zodiac, signs of Gemini. Personally, when I've worked around people in different zodiac energies, Tiger's Eye and Leo really go well together. What's funny is you don't see that referenced in almost any of the literature out there on Tiger's Eye. Sun, fire, it's gold in nature, it's a giant cat energy. Leo, lion, sun, fire. Why these two did not end up together is kind of confusing to me, just throwing that out there. But the other areas that you can see this stone benefiting, mainly because they're missing these energies, are Scorpio and Capricorn. And that's what's traditionally out there is Gemini, Capricorn, and Scorpio. But for being a fire and sun stone, there's no fire zodiac association, which is just weird to me. Personally, I see Leo every time I pick up the stone. When I ask it what zodiac sign, it's always said Leo to me, so use it as you will, but those are the traditional versions. One of the most powerful pairings of Tiger's Eye, because fire, sun, would be to have your stone set in gold. Preferably, 24 karat, but even iron pyrite, gold-ish, amplifies the stone's energy massively. You could say tenfold if you would like. A Tiger's Eye set in gold amplifies that solar fire energy. So that is one of those areas where if you are going into a meeting and you're nervous, having this stone set in gold, it definitely boosts your self-esteem, your presence on the, like if you're going into an interview or something. But it's also good if you're going into a situation where you might need a little protection, you might need a little more divine intervention, because sun and gold and fire are all about both of those. So having this set in a necklace, in a ring, something along those lines would be super beneficial. And if you happen to be feeling a little down, like your energy is just not where you'd like it to be, it could be seasonal depression, it could be just depression in general, it could be a whole list of other things. This stone might be a good one to carry with you, especially if you can get it set in gold, or if you can find a piece set in gold, because it can help boost your overall vitality and energy. Again, not medical stuff, just saying this is from an energetic perspective. Tiger's Eye also has this interesting, could you think, projective and aggressive, this more dominant energy, that it would be almost hyper aggressive. But Tiger's Eye has a very interesting talent in it brings your emotions into check. It helps you find your balance. With that being said, it also gives you, as you can see, the stone shifts its color gradient. It will help you see others' perspectives and others' points of view. It's not a stone of stable. I just lost the word. Standing in one place. It's a stone of movement. It's a stone of coming together, of communication. So if you're in some, like you're negotiating a promotion or you're negotiating something, could be legal, could be financial, who knows what. This is a stone that can help you understand the other person, but if you're carrying it on yourself, it could also boost your good luck a little bit. So you get double whammy there. This is like one of those almost a universal stone for so many things. One of the other aspects of Tiger's Eye is it helps you to feel better about yourself. I think we all could use that some days, right? But it's not in the egoic sense of I'm better than other people. No, it gets in there and it helps shut down the I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I don't know how. That whiny little voice in the back of your head that you want to somehow shake out. It takes that thing and yeets it out the window and replaces it with I will. I'm going to. I'll do it twice just to prove you wrong. And it's one of those things where the stone has this boost energy that comes with it. So if you happen to hit that wall or you're in a situation where you just don't feel you're good enough, you don't feel that you have any worth left to you, well, I'll just tell you right now, that's a lie, but this stone can help you see that that's not a true statement. So when you work with this stone, it can help you boost the view of yourself in a very healthy way. Realize your skills, your talents, what works best for you, what doesn't work for you, but it helps you see things clearly. There's no fibbing with this particular stone. It's like, we're going to rip the Band-Aid off, we're going to pack it with some healing stuff, and then you can see why we don't think that that's a good idea. And it's really just helping you figure out where you stand. So that's a positive with this. And if you happen to be working with a more dark time in life, seasonal depression, general depression, things like that, this stone actually can help you see the light at the end of the tunnel. Help you see that this is not a long-term thing. This is a short-term glitch. Your brain, your emotions, your hormones, whatever it is, because we all have different versions of it, is causing some chaos. And this stone's like, this is temporary. Let's move beyond this. Here's the light at the end of the tunnel. Notice it's not as far away as you think. So there is hope here. So it's a very good stone to have around, especially in winter if you are like a lot of us with seasonal affected depression. This is a stone to keep around, especially carry it in your pocket, wear it as a necklace, keep it on a bracelet. There's a whole bunch of different ways. And keeping it next to your bed so while you sleep, you can get the energy benefit from it. Tiger's Eye is also used very commonly in prosperity or magical rituals. So if you're looking for boosting that income a little bit, or maybe getting a little more clear on where you're going in life, I linked in the description, I have 2 different Orgones that I've made that use Tiger's Eye. One is for prosperity, other one is for knowledge, wisdom, that kind of thing. You can check those out if you want. But one of the rituals that I've used in the past, and it's kind of a fun one, and it's really simple. It's not as complex as some of them are. And it's more of just a meditation situation, if you want to call it that, is you need a gold, green, or yellow candle. Those are the 3 colors that are generally associated with wealth. You want to engrave on it prosperity symbols. If you know the runes prosperity, you can write the word prosperity. You can just carve a dollar sign in it, whatever works for you. And set the candle in its stand in the middle of a circle of Tiger's Eye. And this is just a general strand. But I've used these before, and I've put a clasp on the end of it, so it's like more of a necklace. You place it around the candle. You get clear on what it is you want as far as the financial side of things. And this is something you can use for generally a one-time, like I need X number of dollars to pay this bill to get rid of it type of a situation. You sit in quiet meditation. You focus on the amount of money you're looking for to deal with whatever situation, gazing into your candle. And they even have smooth stones, so you don't have to be poked by the more aggressive chipped version. Um, but then you can sit there and meditate on the candle flame. And what you're visualizing during this, though, is what does it feel like to have it? What does it feel like to use that money? Because you're not storing it, you're using it. This is an energy shift that's going on. So you want to just allow that to be the focus. The trick here, and this is something to pay attention to with this type of work, especially with Tiger's Eye, the minute your brain starts to wander, you're done. Shut her down, let the candle burn out, keep the Tiger's Eye with you. The reason I personally say use chips or a necklace is when the ritual's done, you put that on and you go about your day. You're keeping that charge with you as you're going through the day. You're not thinking about it because you got other things to do. But you have that energy with you, so it's infusing your aura. So that's one of those kind of fun ways to work with that energy. You let your candle burn out, you carry that with you, and you just go about your day and notice how things tend to work out for you. If you happen to find, and like I said, I don't have one of these. It's something I'm looking into getting one day. A bigger Tiger's Eye, because you can find them in like a full crystal ball size. There's also plates you can get that are just little thin discs of Tiger's Eye. And those were used for scrying tools, gazing into like a crystal ball or scrying into water or ink or something. And with a Tiger's Eye, it's a little bit more of a difficulty, and I don't know why, but I've tried it and it's not as easy as you would think. But you want to be outside with this one. You don't want to be indoors, or at least where the sun's shining on you and the stone, and you want to have the sun hit the stone. And you want to watch and observe the flashes and allow your mind to just be quiet and really pay attention to what's going on there. The way this stone works is it's not going to show you present, it's not going to show you internal, it's going to allow you to observe future events in the current thread that you're on. Now, if you change something, that entire thread changes, so be aware that this is for mainly just to see what's going on. But it shows the outcome of where you're currently at, and if you've tried this and been successful, I'd love to hear about it, because this has not been an easy one to try for me. It could be the fact that I'm using stones that are this size, but usually you can get the energy. This one, it's something that you can do. I've never been really good at it, so we'll see what and if you guys have to say. And you can comment down below at any point with that. Another mystical use of Tiger's Eye is for seeing past lives. This helps us understand where we come from. And you can hold the stone in your receptive hand. I'm right-handed, so it would be my left. And allow yourself to get into your meditative state and then focus on the journey to a past life. If you're someone who doesn't believe in past lives, you can focus on what's happened earlier in this life to help you understand where this situation, this difficulty, this karma, whatever term you want to use, that you are wanting to understand so you can heal out of it. And like I said, this is a stone I have used for multiple purposes, but this is one with the past life stuff that has been a little bit easier to get into that state. Past life work can be very difficult from experience, and this stone can help you ease into it a little bit better, because it's pretty much like, oh, there's a wall? Watch me throw that out the window. Let's go. One energy that you can... It's a little more aggressive than this, but it's on the same plane of we're going to get rid of the situations, is the Hindu deity Ganesh, the elephant-headed guy. He's all about breaking down barriers, joy, happiness, success. So is Tiger's Eye, but Ganesh is much more gentle about it. Tiger's Eye is like, I got I just lost it. I've got a D7 cat. We're just going to take off and go through this. So there's a couple of different ways to work with energy of removing obstacles. Tiger's Eye is a bulldozer. Ganesh is more like, let's just move it. It's much more gentle. If you work with the chakras energies, the lower three chakras, which is the root, sacral, and solar plexus, tend to resonate higher with Tiger's Eye. And from personal experience, again, you can take this and or leave it, it's up to you, I found that this stone works really well with the third eye. And it doesn't matter what color. I've tried all three, doesn't matter. Because whether it's gold, whether it's blue, whether it's red, they all carry similar vibrations. The variations are very subtle, so it's not like it's a huge difference. But when I do use this stone for this purpose, I like to lay down, keep my head propped up. I place the tiger's eye directly over the third eye area, which is right above your eyebrows, right there. Um, and then I allow myself to slip into the meditative state. When you do that with tiger's eye, it's almost like you step into that meditation so much clearer, especially if you're using journey work or path working or visualization, because it amplifies what you're trying to achieve. Well, if you're meditating and you're trying to path work, this is a good way to get the visualization a lot clearer. So, and it just in general, even if you're doing quiet meditation, having that tiger's eye right there is just a very calming, even though the stone is very energizing, it's a very calming experience. And like I said, from personal experience, you slip into meditation a lot quicker and a lot easier, which is another reason I like to have it next to your bed on your nightstand. My nightstand looks like a crystal factory, just so we're clear. And it works for general meditation. If you, like I said, receptive hand tends to be the best because you're drawing that energy in. But you could use it in your dominant hand too if you want to. That's up to you. I'm not saying what's right or what's wrong, just giving you the information. When you start to work with tiger's eye, you generally want to clear your stones when you bring them in. You could do the general. Excuse me. You can do the general, setting them in a like put a piece of cloth down, set the stone on top of a bed of salt, or you can put it in water. This stone, because it's a quartz family, is not water soluble, and it doesn't have damage when you put it in water. So you can actually set this in water and let it soak in crystal clear water. If you get rainwater or stream water, that generally works best for clearing crystals, but you can use that because it's really easy to drop it in. Another way to let it rest and recharge, especially if you've been using it for healing work for yourself or for others, is you want to put it in the light of the full moon pretty much every time you've used it. Like if you use it for a full 28 days, into the full moon it goes. And the reason you put it in the full moon, which again, you're working with that water aspect, even though this is fire and sun, when you put the stone in the moon, it allows the sun-based energy to quiet and rest. So the moon actually will charge that sunstone because the sun can rest and not be rah rah. It's more like, okay, you got this? Good. I'm going to take a nap. And so the stone actually does better when it's charged in the moon than it really does in the sun. Again, tried both. The moon just does better with this stone. Not all sunstones respond this way, but this particular one really likes to relax in the moonlight, whereas some of the other ones are like, put me in the sun. This one, not so much. So the last area that I would like to go over, because we talk a lot about the angels, is tiger's eye in relation to the angelic hosts. Tiger's eye tends to work really well with Michael. That's kind of obvious. Fire, sun, aggression, domination, protection, all that fun stuff. But we also have the energy of Sandalphon. And Sandalphon is associated with the protection energy, very much more into the prayer and meditation aspect, not on the level of Metatron. Tiger's Eye and Metatron, they just don't vibe. We'll just put it that way. But working with Sandalphon, if he's one of the angels you work with frequently, this is a good stone to have around because you can help understand how he shows up for you. And as I've talked about in some of my other videos about Sandalphon, he wants to help protect you, he wants to help strengthen you, but he also has a playful energy, ties into Tiger's Eye, because Tiger's Eye can be pretty playful when it's supporting you and enhancing where you're at in life. The other angel, again, going back to this odd combination of sun and moon here, is the archangel of water, which is Gabriel. She is an angel that tends to be associated with Tiger's Eye because of her healing and emotional balance and stabilizing. There's also the energy with Gabriel that is God's messenger. So Tiger's eye is good for communication and being able to express yourself and understand the other person, which is an area where Gabriel and Raphael tend to work really well together. And this is an area where Gabriel is a little stronger with this crystal than Raphael would be. So, just some thoughts on Tiger's eye. Um, Let me know in the comments down below if you've worked with this stone. What do you see when you work with it? How do you work with it? Protection, health, good luck, abundance, prosperity. Subscribe if this is the kind of stuff you like to see, and drop a like on the video. With that, I think we'll wrap it up here. Yeah, and like I said, I've linked a couple of my Orgones that have Tiger's Eye in the description if you're curious about that. The one thing I will add on here is you want to find a reputable supplier for Tiger's Eye. Everything that I've shown in this video actually came from a local crystal shop. I know the owner. She's super intelligent. She's really ethical, and she'll tell you, these ones are dyed. I don't know if you want them or not. And usually I'm like, I'm not into dyed stones. I want the real thing. And so she tends to be more open about that. So you want to find a reputable place. Tiger's Eye, like I said, is not super expensive until you get into the bigger pieces and the carvings and things like that, at which point you definitely want to make sure you're buying reputable. You don't want like layered glass or something goofy. So when you're shopping for it, you want to make sure you are seeing that it's, from one of the countries I referenced here. And when you're around genuine Tiger's Eye, you can tell the difference if you've worked with it before. So again, I would go local before I would shop online for just genuine pieces of it. Personal opinion there. So with that, I will let you guys and gals go. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next video.